Help Stop the Genocide in American Ghettos podcast. I'm your host, Emmanuel Barbee. I would like to encourage everyone on my Facebook friends list, everyone in my social groups, and all of my listeners worldwide. Please do me a favor. Hit that like button and share this video podcast with your friends. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel. It's free. Help make this video podcast go viral by posting this link to your Facebook page, your Instagram page, and or on your Twitter page. This video podcast is available in 3 forms: audio, video, and as a written text in order for us to reach our audience. On my YouTube channel, you can watch my latest video podcasts. I provide direct links to our virtual store, my Amazon author page, our PayPal page, my Medium page, and our GoFundMe page under the About section. We look forward to having you on board with us as we embrace upon this exciting project. If you are listening to this audio podcast on Anchor, just click on the YouTube icon to connect with my YouTube channel. In order to follow along with my presentation, I strongly recommend everyone on my Facebook friends list exchange emails with me so that I can email you everything I do online. I encourage all of my listeners to follow me on my Medium page. This is where I post my transcript so that you can read my full speech word for word or click on the audio version to hear my speech. I use this platform to interact with everyone on my friends list and everyone in my social groups by giving Black business owners free airtime to promote their products and services. I give people in the faith community an opportunity to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. I give Black authors and ordinary law-abiding citizens an opportunity to share their special talents and skills to my listeners from around the globe. After the show, I offer my guest speakers an incentive by teaching them how to create their own podcast and YouTube channel to help them earn extra revenue. I also assist people on my friends list with creating basic websites, finding college scholarships and grants, housing, and legal services, all for free. I am not interested in writing and publishing more books, but rather producing quality Black empowerment films and creating successful Black businesses. I am not online to beg for donations. I want to exchange something of value. My thing is, if I am going to ask for something, then I'm going to have a product or service behind it. This podcast is an extension of the grassroots community activist movement. Over here, we promote critical thinking while discussing social issues throughout the diaspora and on the African continent until the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago materialize. It's my hope that through this podcast and through my social groups, I can connect with other like-minded Black people, African people, Afro-Caribbean people, Afro-Brazilian people, and others who will work with me directly in turning my vision and plan for Black America and Africa into a reality. Once we get this film project fully funded and made and get our Christian business up and running, then I would love to invite many of you to Chicago, Illinois to speak or preach during our live events. Through the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago, we will help pay for your travel and hotel expenses depending on our budget and sponsorship. We will also compensate you for your time and talent. Upcoming events. We will be posting our New Year's video podcast on Sunday, January 1st. Please mark your calendar for Saturday, January 28th. We will restart our monthly virtual conference. I would like to personally invite everyone on my Facebook friends list and everyone in my Facebook social groups to participate on our next Facebook Live event. Theme, my wish for 2023. The time, 2 p.m. through 4 p.m. American Central Time, 3 p.m. Canadian Time, 8 p.m. West African Time, 9 p.m. South Africa Time, 10 p.m. East African Time, and 8 p.m. UK Time. If you would like to be on the panel, just send me a message to my Facebook inbox for additional information. If you are unable to participate, then please share my Facebook Live event with your friends and leave a public comment about the topic on my YouTube channel or on my Facebook page. This will help get the ball rolling. Instructions to participate on the show. First, watch my video podcast. This is called Side A. After I finish my presentation, then I will open up the phone lines through Facebook Messenger. This is called Side B. You can interact with me in real time, either by voice call, by clicking on the phone icon, or by video call by clicking on the camera icon. Today's topic of discussion is as follows: the U.S. Africa Summit 2022, and what does the Raphael Warnock win mean for Black America? Our first topic, the U.S. Africa Summit 2022. The Biden administration has offered Africa $55 billion, which includes the LBG agenda. I watched a video on Al Jazeera entitled, quote, "Why is Africa turning away from the United States?" unquote. I provided the video clip on my Medium transcript under Show and Prove for those of you who would like to learn more about it. They had interviewed former African Union Ambassador Dr. Ericana. She is known for pointing out the Berlin Conference, which took place in 1885. She also exposed how France continues to rob 12 West African nations of their resources. Those African nations are as follows: Benin, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Chad, Central African Republic, Gabon, Ivory Coast, Mali, Niger, the Republic of Congo, Senegalese, and Togo. She also talked about the division on the African continent because of neo-colonization. She sees the divisions as a cause of Africa's problems that are still happening today. She seeks to reunite African nations and Africans across the diaspora. I read the U.S. Africa Summit document from the White House website. There were two things which caught my attention. We have seen the Biden administration has been distributing billions of dollars in resources to non-American citizens, such groups like Afghan refugees, illegal Latino immigrants, Ukrainian refugees, and the Ukrainian government. My point is, charity begins at home. The American government owes a debt to descendants of American slaves or foundational Black Americans. If it was not for our ancestors, there would be no America. They helped build America because the white supremacist financial elites were too lazy to build it on themselves. On my Medium transcript, I provide the PDF document about the U.S. Africa Summit entitled, quote, Fact Sheet, U.S. Africa Partnership in Elevating Diaspora Engagement, unquote, under Show and Prove. According to the document, the Biden administration is going to focus on African immigrants from the 6th region. That means Africans who voluntarily came to the United States of America. The PACADE would consist of diverse representatives such as the Black Boule and African immigrants. My question is, if this is supposed to be for Black people, then why do they keep using the term diversity in the document? We have to watch out for these trick language. The Biden administration wants to do all of this for Africans, but they refuse to approve reparations for descendants of American slaves or foundational Black Americans. This is very offensive. There are 54 African nations, but in the document, they keep mentioning Africa. These policymakers never do that when they refer to Europe or Asia. They name the Pacific countries they are talking about. The Black grassroots needs to jump on this issue as soon as possible and try to obtain some of this money, because after all, we're part of the African diaspora. I encourage my listeners to scroll down to Young African Leaders Initiative. Notice the word, it says skill training among women and other underrepresented groups. You see in real time what these policymakers are doing with putting $55 billion on the table. They're trying to entice your African leaders or bribe them to sell out your country so that Africa remains trapped to the West. America has money for this, but the politicians tell us they don't have nothing for reparations. Where are those Biden voters? Explain how does the Biden administration have all this money for all these other groups, but nothing for reparations? Leave a public comment in the comment section below this video podcast. Where are all these people who complain about where their tax dollars are going? We'd like to hear from you too. Here's the next PDF document about the U.S. Africa Summit entitled, quote, U.S. Strategy Towards Sub-Saharan Africa, unquote, under Show and Prove. We're going to review America's objectives starting on page 5 through 8. According to the document, they have 4 objectives. I notice they keep mentioning corruption in this document. America needs to fix all of the corruption going on here first before talking about anyone else. They talk about human rights but never discuss human rights for Black Americans and victims of police brutality like our brother George Floyd. The next topic, the document, was foster openness and open societies. Why does the United States of America have an interest that Africa remains open and accessible to all? Because they want to continue to steal their resources, that's all. I have been online and offline doing my best to get Black America to embrace my vision and plan for 31 years. I am getting tired of being bogged down with American issues. The real fight is for Africa. These African nations are sovereign nations, and they have a right to decide who they want to do business with. America is not trying to be an equal partner. They're trying to tell African leaders what to do in their own country. America still have sanctions against Zimbabwe to make them an example of South Africa. On sale from African Diaspora News Channel discuss how the United States of America has imposed more sanctions on Zimbabwe. The white supremacist financial elites are still upset with Robert Mugabe because he took back the land from Europeans and returned it back to native Africans of Zimbabwe. The Biden administration is more concerned about what's happening in Africa than they are with dissatisfied American voters. The Biden administration did not do police reform in America, but they want to do it in Africa. The document goes on to discuss empowering marginalized groups such as LGBT. African family, please pay close attention to what I am telling you. If you all don't reject this American agenda, you, your family, and your country is doomed, just like these other Western nations. Don't just take my word for it. Read the actual document. The Biden administration agreed to give Africa $55 billion in order to recolonize Africa. The next topic in the document is advanced pandemic recovery. The United States lost 1 million people. They are not in any position to be telling you all anything. I remember what Prince William said about Africa. He said there are too many people on the African continent, and Africans are taking up spaces from wildlife. I provide the video clip on my Medium transcript under Show and Prove. And I'm going to also play an audio clip of that. Here's the audio clip of Prince William's warning: rising human population putting wildlife at risk in Africa.
Using global wildlife population to define biological. Africa's rapidly growing human population is predicted to more than double by 2050. A staggering increase of 3.5 million per month. There is no question that this increase puts wildlife and habitats under enormous pressure. We're going to have to work much harder and think much deeper if we are to ensure that human beings and the other species of animal with which we share this planet can continue to coexist. When we look back, we have a mixed track record in this regard, but I'm always optimistic when I observe our young people in particular, all over the world, are motivated to reverse the trends of the past.
If you didn't hear clearly what he said, then again, I recommend that you go to my Medium transcript and click on the video clip. But basically, he's saying that there's too many people on the African continent, and Africans are taking up space from wildlife. And again, that's an African issue. That's not a European issue. But again, you know, I'm here in America now, and so again, we have to get this organization popping over here first, because that's where I'm at, and then I can bring my Christian business on the African continent. Bottom line. How do you stop children from being born is the question. You promote the LGBT agenda, which is promoting barrenness. I explain in detail how Black America was destroyed by the white supremacist financial elites in my revised book. The reason why the United States of America is putting money on the table to African leaders is because America have lost influence over Africa. America is trying to get her grips back on Africa. A colonizer will always be a colonizer. America is trying to recolonize Africa because they know you all have more choices now. The Biden administration is offering $55 billion to African leaders so that they can sell you out, just like our black leaders have here in America. I hope and pray that young Africans won't accept going back into colonization, that their parents' generation accepted. I did not read anything about building power grids. Hold your leaders accountable, Africans. I believe Africa should focus on pushing for your own reparation from these European nations that colonized your nation. Western nations want Africa to remain a third world continent so that way they can continue to benefit off of Africa's resources. That's what this is all about, ladies and gentlemen. Africa prefers to doing business with China. China is not meddling in Africa's internal affairs. This document mentions investing in entrepreneurship in Africa. That also includes us because of the term descendants of enslaved Africans. I encourage all Africans on my Facebook friends list to join my African group, Rakai of Africa. Also exchange emails with me so that I can email you everything I do online. My purpose for doing this podcast is to recruit like-minded black people and African people within the United States and around the globe. Unlike Pan-Africanism that was good ideas from black leaders on the top, GRCAM is grassroots. So I want to work with ordinary law-abiding citizens, and I want to be able to help those that's part of the masses. I want to connect with our black middle-class brothers and sisters and our working class brothers and sisters, as well as our so-called underclass brothers and sisters. I do not operate like the next black man. I have my own style and way of doing things. Those of you who have rejected my vision and plan for Black America for the past 31 years, you will not be part of my business. I am only responsible for my members. Those of you who are not part of us, we will pray for them, show them tough love, and keep it moving. Once our film project is fully funded and made, then we will build Ghettos Chicago with the help of African immigrants in America, Afro-Caribbeans, Afro-Brazilians, Black Americans, and others who want to be part of this great movement. Then we can begin launching our African tours beginning in South Africa. I will lead by example by applying for dual citizenship. I will also purchase property and set up our Christian business in South Africa. We will also shoot our second film entitled African Liberator, Battle Against the Colonized Mindset. We will set up chapters in 10 African nations so that we can do international trade among our brothers and sisters on the African continent, here in the United States, in the Caribbean, as well as in Brazil. My goal is that we will work together using technology to help spread our message. Now is the time for GRCAM members worldwide to help get my revised book on that bestsellers list and donate to our film project. Display your name and the amount you are contributing through our GoFundMe page. Please leave a public comment about the topic in the comment section below this video podcast. Most of all, share this video podcast with your friends. This will help get the ball rolling. Our second topic: what does the Raphael Warnock win mean for Black America? They had the runoff. It was very, very close. When no candidate receives a majority of votes in the general election, a runoff between the top two candidates is required. Georgia voters decided between incumbent Senate Raphael Warnock and his challenger Herschel Walker. Warnock barely won. We saw a lot of black people and Democratic shields celebrating Warnock's victory. My question to Black Democrat voters: what are you celebrating? Please leave a public comment in the comment section below this video podcast. We expect the LGBT community and the immigrant community to receive some type of benefits from those politicians. But what are black voters getting when these black politicians win an election? Truth be told, I believe he is going to be another Jim Clyburn. Pastors like Jamal Bryant are part of the Boule crowd. Pastor Jamal Bryant did a sermon and a smear campaign against Herschel Walker entitled, quote, "I don't need a walker," unquote. Like it or not, but the black church is a business. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry to deliver the black vote to the Democrats. That's not honorable at all, selling out our people to politicians. Basically, what Pastor Jamal Bryant was saying, black people can relate more to Herschel Walker than some Boule member who's educated. The Boule is our black politicians. White people are also telling black Democrats what to do. They're not just telling those on the right, the Republicans, what to do. Instead of addressing the issues within Black America, many of these black leaders find fault with other black people. Black people are asking, how can Pastor Raphael Warnock support LGBT and abortion when that goes against the Bible? Pastors like Joel Osteen, T.D. Jakes, and Creflo Dollar are making millions of dollars by the way they preach, which draws members. The majority of black Americans are politically uneducated. This is one reason why GRCAM Chicago is needed, because we will teach our members and students political education. This is very important, ladies and gentlemen, if we want to survive in America. the Black Boule, the WACP, National Urban League, National Action Network, Congressional Black Caucus are all Democrat first and in the pockets of the white supremacist financial elites. They are enemies to Black America. Athletes and entertainers are not our leaders. We're about 2 more generations in of becoming a permanent underclass in America. Joe Biden spent 40 years harming Black people through his policies. Black America did not learn the lessons from the Montgomery busboy boycotts, which showed us how to push back against the white supremacist financial elites. As I mentioned in my revised book, things got worse under integration. During Jim Crow, we had our own community and our families were intact. Nowadays, we're becoming social, integrated, and culturally assimilated, meaning we are becoming Americanized, and that's not cool. I was able to see the progression of the Black community back in the 80s and 90s. The white supremacist financial elites passed the Civil Rights Act, but used trick language. Instead of making it only for Black people, they used the term, quote, minority to include others in our struggle, but they were not enslaved. Other terms that we are fighting against is people of color, disenfranchised groups, or marginalized groups. We are descendants of American slaves or foundational Black Americans. That's our lineage. The white supremacist financial elites allowed our Black middle-class professionals to relocate outside of the Black ghetto and into their communities. Then they flooded the Black ghetto with drugs, guns, and liquor stores, which in my revised book I call perfect genocide. Then came the 1994 crime bill, which created mass incarceration, which broke down the Black family. The man who created the crime bill, Black people voted in mass for him to become president. I warned Black America during the 2020 election not to vote based on emotion, but rather demand tangibles. They ignored me. And now look at the mess Black America is in today. Politically, we don't stand together on anything. In my online groups, I teach my members about being monolithic on protecting our community, monolithic on gatekeeping our culture, monolithic on politics, and monolithic on reparations. Europeans are monolithic. They have the European Union standing against Russia. They also have NATO. I am doing my best to move Gurkhan from behind the computer, but a majority of Black people are fighting against this. This is why it's taken me so long, because I lack support from Black people. And this is for Black people. We have much sabotage from within our own racial group. This is why we will separate from off-code Black people. Real talk. That $55 billion for Africa needs to go towards our reparation. Please leave a public comment about the topic in the comment section below this video podcast. Most of all, share this video podcast with your friends. This will help get the ball rolling. And that will conclude our podcast for today.